morning students. So this is the third chapter of chemistry, that is metals and non-metals. Okay, so let us start to know what is metal and what is non-metal. So this is an introduction wherein if we want to differentiate the metal and non-metal, there are few properties given here. Okay, so we shall go through some of the properties of metals first. Now we can see that it is a strong, metals are very strong in its physical property. Okay, and also these metals are lustrous in nature. Lustrous means it is very shiny in nature. It has a shining surface all through it. Okay, that is lustrous. And here it is hard. Metals are hard in nature also. Okay, and the next one is non-corrosive. Non-corrosive means metals do not get rust very soon. Even though if you keep outside in atmosphere for a long time, metals do not get rust. So it has a non-corrosive nature. So these are some of the physical properties of metals. Okay, now when you come under the non-metals, here you have few properties wherein those properties will be exactly opposite to the metals. Okay, so here it is soft in nature. Okay, the non-metals are very soft and it is not bit strong also like metals. Okay, and the second property saying it is non-lustrous in nature. Non-lustrous means it is not shiny in surface. Okay, next is corrosive. Corrosive means it gets rust very soon. When you keep it outside for a short period of time also, it gets rust very soon. So these are the common difference which you find between metal as well as non-metal. Okay, so this is an introduction part. Now coming to the exact concept of the lesson, here first of all you have two different properties of metal, main two different properties. One is a malleability and the other one is ductility. Okay, so first of all let us see what is malleability. Here, ability of metals to be drawn into thin sheets. Okay, ability of metals to be drawn into thin sheets means metal will have an ability to draw into thin sheet like form. So when you beat the metal, if that metal forms a thin sheet like thing, then that particular property is called as malleability. Okay, so I repeat, when you beat the metal, if that metal undergo in a shape of a thin sheet, then that particular property is called malleability. Okay, now same way when we consider the ductility, here what happens is ability of metals to be drawn into thin wires. Okay, here in malleability we have seen it forms thin sheets, wherein in ductility it forms thin wires. Okay, so this is a difference between malleability as well as ductility. So here now let us learn what happens when metals are burnt in air. Okay, so what happens when metals are burnt in air? So here in air means we find varieties of gases here. Right, we find varieties of gases. We find oxygen, we find carbon dioxide, and we find some mixture of gases also. Okay, so now we shall see what happens when any metal which will react with air, what the product is formed. Okay, so first of all I have written a simple reaction here, that is metal when it reacts with oxygen you will get metal oxide. Usually even though varieties of gases are there in atmosphere, but these metals usually grabs only the oxygen. Always remember, when metal is suspended to be retained in atmosphere for a long time, immediately metal absorbs which element? It absorbs oxygen first. Okay, it absorbs oxygen to form metal oxide. Is it clear? So now I have taken two different examples. One is a copper. Cu means copper and O means oxygen. Okay, here I am combining copper as well as oxygen. So when you combine copper and oxygen, here you obtain the product as copper oxide. Is it clear? So copper is a metal, oxygen is a gas. Copper is a metal which we keep it outside and oxygen will be there in the atmosphere. Now what happens? This copper will absorb the oxygen from the atmosphere and forms copper oxide. Okay, and when you come to the next example, here one more example I have taken, that is aluminium. Al stands for aluminium and O stands for same way oxygen. Now I'll take the metal aluminium and I'll keep this aluminium outside in the atmosphere. It again absorbs which gas? Oxygen gas. When aluminium absorbs oxygen gas, you will obtain the product as aluminium oxide. Is it clear? So this is how metals react with oxygen. Now let us see what happens when metal react with water. In the previous we have seen what happens when metal reacts with air, right? So here let us see what happens when metal reacts with water. So I am taking the same reaction. Metal is reacting with water. Okay, here metal is reacting with water to obtain metal oxide itself. Okay, you obtain the product metal oxide, wherein in the previous one also, when I reacted this metal with air, I obtained metal oxide itself. But here one extra term is obtained, that is hydrogen. So when metal and water reacts each other, you obtain metal oxide with the liberation of this hydrogen gas. Okay, so hydrogen is in the gaseous form and this hydrogen will be liberated at the end of the reaction. Is it clear? So let me explain again. So what happens when metal reacts with water? When metal is reacting with water, you obtain the product metal oxide with the liberation of hydrogen gas. Now let me see the examples. That is, first one we have taken Ca. Ca stands for calcium. Okay, Ca is calcium, and H2O, as you all know, H2O is water. Now we are reacting this calcium with water and we obtain the products calcium hydroxide, CaOH twice. CaOH twice means calcium hydroxide plus H2. H2 means hydrogen gas is liberated. Okay, CaOH twice means calcium hydroxide plus H2 means hydrogen gas is liberated. So this is a first reaction, first example. And come to the second example, that is Fe. Fe stands for iron, ferric. Okay, Fe plus H2. H2O means again water. So when you react iron with water, you obtain Fe3O4, wherein Fe3O4 means ferric oxide. Okay, Fe3O4 means ferric oxide. So you obtain ferric oxide with the liberation of hydrogen gas. Okay, so when any metal, if you react with water, you obtain the metal oxide with the liberation of hydrogen gas. So next let us see how do metals and non-metals react each other. Now till now we have seen, first we have seen how do metals react with air, right? Then second we have seen how metals react with water. Now let us see what happens if metal and non-metal itself react with each other. Okay, so this is something special. So let us go through by taking some example only. I'll explain you. See students, even if this question appears in exam also, there is no exact definition. Okay, so for this concept there is no exact definition, since you need to explain by taking the example itself. Okay, so here I have taken the first example I have taken, that is sodium and chloride. Okay, here I have taken sodium. Na stands for sodium and Cl stands for chlorine. Okay, so when the sodium and chlorine reacts with each other, you obtain a product that is sodium chloride. Okay, now let me see what is this dot and plus minus, and here also there are plus and minus. So this dot, this indicates electron. Okay, this dot indicates electron. Okay, and now this electron will be there along with the sodium. Okay, this is electron. Electron will be there with whom? It will be there with sodium. What this sodium will do? This sodium will give this electron to the chlorine. Okay, are you getting it? This sodium will give the electron to chlorine. Okay, so when it gives, now this is donating its electron. Okay, it is donating its electron. When it donates, it gets a plus charge. Okay, and which atom receives the electron, that gets negative charge. I will tell you again. See, sodium is donating its electron. Since it is donating, it gets a plus charge. And which atom it receives the electron, that gets minus charge. So here in NaCl product formation, we put plus sign under the sodium, upon the sodium, and we put minus sign upon the chlorine, okay, wherein plus charge indicate it is a cation, that is cation, cation, and the negative charge indicate it is a anion. Is it clear? So positive charge indicate it is a cation and negative charge indicate it is a anion. So this is a first example's explanation. So next now come under the second one. Here I am taking again two elements. One is the magnesium and one more is chlorine. Okay. Here Mg stands for magnesium, Cl stands for chlorine. When you react this magnesium and chlorine, you will obtain the product as magnesium chloride. Okay. So now let us see. Here there was only one electron, right? There is only one dot here, right? Here along with the magnesium there are two dots. Now this two dot indicate one bond between these atoms. Okay, one bond. Two electron indicates one bond between these two atoms. Okay, now this magnesium what it does is it donates its both the electrons to chlorine. Okay, magnesium donate its both electrons to chlorine. So magnesium get which charge now? Plus charge. These electrons are received by whom? By chlorine. So that gets which charge? Negative charge. Okay. So you will obtain the product as MgCl, that is magnesium chloride, wherein you get here 2 plus and here you get 2 minus. What is this 2? 2 indicates here 2 electrons was there, no? So that number indicates 2 here. Okay. So why it is plus here upon the magnesium? Because magnesium is donating the electron. So it get plus charge. And why it is minus here? Since chlorine is receiving the electron. So it gets the negative charge here. So this is the explanation of how do metals and non-metals react with each other. So next let us see electrolytic refining. Okay. So this is very important experiment, students, and its diagram is also one of the very important. So let us see how the experiment goes on and what is the main intention of the experiment. So the main intention of this experiment is to obtain the pure metal. Okay, to obtain the pure metal, this experiment is done, that is electrolytic refining. Now first of all, I am taking a beaker. Okay, I am taking a beaker and I am adding water to it. And to that water I am mixing few varieties of metals. One, I am taking copper. Cu means copper. Zn means zinc. Okay, and Ag means silver. Next, Au means gold. Okay, so all these 4 are metals only. Okay, but still I am mixing those 4 metals to water, so to get pure metal from that. Now even though these 4 are metals, but there are still pure and impure in it. Okay, so in gold only we can differentiate pure gold and impure gold. Like nowadays we usually see, right, 916 is a pure gold. Other than 916 it is not a pure one. Okay, so like that. So in metals also we have 2 categories. One is a pure metal and one more is a impure metal. So the main intention of this experiment is to obtain the pure metal. So let us see how to obtain the pure metal. Now we have placed water here. Inside the water we have placed copper, zinc, then silver and gold. Okay, after placing we have to place 2 plates. One is cathode plate, one more is anode plate. Okay, and from these 2 plates we have to send 2 wires, and these wires will be connected to the battery. Okay, these wires are connected to the battery. In the battery also you have a smaller end here and you have a longer end here, right? So these are the ends of the battery, ends. Okay, this smaller end indicates it is a negative and the longer end indicates it is a positive. Always you have to connect cathode plate's wire to the negative end and anode plate's wire to the positive end. Once it is connected, immediately electricity will be generated in the solution. Okay, what is generated? Electricity will be generated in the solution. Once the electricity is generated, what happens is all the pure metals which are there in this solution, it comes and settles on this cathode plate. Okay, it comes and settles on the cathode plate. Which one? Pure metal. Pure metal comes and settles on the cathode plate, wherein impure metal, whatever it is there, that will be situated in the anode plate. Is it clear? Pure metal will come and settles on the cathode plate, and impure metals, whatever it is there, that will be settled on the anode plate. So this is how you obtain pure metal from the electrolytic refining. This is the last topic of the lesson, that is corrosion. Okay. Corrosion means, usually we say, reddish brown surface obtained when metals react with carbon dioxide and water in the atmosphere. Okay. CO2 means carbon dioxide, H2O means water molecule, okay, water, moisture present in the atmosphere. So suppose when you keep any metal outside in the atmosphere for a long time, what that metal does, that metal reacts with the carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere, and it also reacts with the water molecule, that is water moisture content in the atmosphere, and forms a layer, forms a surface, that is reddish brown surface. Okay, so that forms a reddish brown surface, and that particular process is called corrosion. Is it clear? So what is corrosion? It is a reddish brown surface obtained when metals react with carbon dioxide and water in atmosphere. So next is how to prevent the corrosion. Okay, so there are few steps for the prevention from the corrosion. So the first step is by painting. So if you paint any metal, if you keep on painting, that metal will not get rust very soon. Okay, so one remedy for the corrosion is by painting, and the second one is by galvanization. Galvanization means applying zinc coat on the metal. So zinc is also one of the metal. So when this zinc coat is applied on any iron surface, what happens is that particular surface will not get rust very soon. Okay, so that applying the zinc coat on a metal, that is called as galvanization. So these are the two important prevention of corrosion, that is, one is by painting and one more is by galvanization. Okay, so here ends the chapter metal and non-metal.